Going to the movies used to be one of my very favorite things to do, and now it's one of my least favorite. I'd rather watch movies at home, and it's mostly due to naughty little kids in the theater. For more on this is a segment I like to call, Ugh, when did I get this old? So it was spring break this past week. We were with family, and we decided we were going to take all of the kids to go see a movie. Now, there's 9 of us, and the only spot that we could get 9 seats together was almost the front row. Not my favorite spot to be, but what can you do? That's what was available. The row in front of us, there were 2 12 or 13-year-olds. They looked exactly like the bully from This Is 40, the Judd Apatow movie.
You look like a miniature Tom Petty. How's that feel, huh?
So these are seats that recline almost all the way flat. And so these kids are laying down and on their phones throughout the entire movie, scrolling through TikTok with their volume on almost at full blast. So we can hear the kids' TikTok, going as they're scrolling through. They're bored what's going on the screen because there isn't any action at the particular moment. There's talking. And so they get down their phones, they're scrolling through, and then they're showing each other different TikToks. It's like, my God, what is happening here? Why did you come to the movies to, scroll through TikTok, So they're in the front row and reclined all the way. Their phones, they're holding their phones, in a way that they can see them, which is like directly in front of us and, the rest of the theater who are all behind them. All you can see is this, this bright phone screen flickering through, and then the noise of the apps, the TikToks that they're watching. So not only are they doing that, which is incredibly frustrating, but when a character comes on screen that they don't like, they start throwing candy and popcorn at the screen and hitting it. I don't know why. It was like this weird roid rage from these little teeny boppers. I don't know what compelled them to just start. Have they never seen a movie before where people are acting and there's bad guys? And they were so irritated by bad guys, the presence of bad guys, that they're throwing candy at the screen. It was so weird. So I felt this like rage, boiling up over me. And it's like, I'm going to say something to them. But these are the type of kids who I know, if I went over and said, hey, you're being annoying, please put your phone away, please stop throwing things at the screen, they're just going to do it more because they looked like terrible kids. They were behaving like terrible kids. So it is not unreasonable for me to guess that that's how they would react to me doing that. I also thought about, well, what if I dump my popcorn or dump soda on them like Mariah Carey did on Jerry O'Connell in the Heartbreaker video? That might feel good to me temporarily. But, I'm with my kids, my nieces and nephews. I don't think that would have been a good example of how to handle the situation. So ultimately what I did was nothing, and just tried my very hardest to just focus on the movie and getting the heck out of there afterwards and talking to the kids about it. Like, oh man, you see how terrible those kids were in front of us? How annoying. You wouldn't do that, right? Would you? I think that was the most adult thing to do in that moment. So I don't regret that at all. But in the past year or so, going back to the movies, this seems to happen a lot. Maybe not to this extent, but there are definitely people on their phones throughout the movie now, and it's not like they're just like quickly checking a message to see if there's an emergency or something. They're scrolling through Instagram and TikTok and whatever because they're bored with what's going on in the movie. That certainly feels like it's happening quite a bit more. Not just kids, adults too. Is that just how things are now? Is we just accept that people are going to pull up their screens and light up a dark theater and do that in the middle of a movie? I don't know. This sounds a lot like, hey, kids these days are pretty terrible. And in a lot of ways, they can be. But is this just something that we have to get used to? I don't know. What would you do in that situation when you've got little bags of crap sitting in front of you being so terrible during a movie that you're trying to enjoy. I mean, granted, it was Shazam 2, you know, not something that I've been circling on my calendar and wanting to see for a long time. But nevertheless, it is not good behavior. I don't know what to do about it. If it was my kids, I would, say something. I had someone else's kids. What am I going to do? Go to jail because I couldn't hear Shazam? Let me know in the comments what you would have done in this situation, and if you think this is just life now. You go somewhere, people are on their phones. This has been, when did I get this old? Thank you for watching if you made it this far. If you're having these similar kinds of oh man, how did I get this old thoughts like I am, then subscribe and we can commiserate together. Thanks.